So let's go back to the gradient editor if we could, and let me ramp this back up to 100%. Okay, so let's go back to the gradient and look at how we can make parts of it transparent. And that's what these, again, these little buckets at the top of the gradient are for. So for instance, I'm going to go, let's put this right in the middle, and go to this left bucket and say bring this down to 20%. And you can see right here that the checkerboard is showing through. And so over on this one part of the gradient, it's the solid blue, but then it very quickly starts to fade out. So because on this end we're saying we want a very low opacity. And so I'll say okay. And once again, go back to my canvas and watch what happens when I apply it. So you can see that the blue is very much opaque, but look, with the green and the red area are somewhat transparent, but not the blue. So you can see how part of it's opaque and part of it's not. And that's due to the slider. Now let me show you something else that's pretty interesting, a more extreme version of this. We happen to have one here. Take a look at this. I clicked on this red one here, and what we actually have is full color and then no color, and full color and no color. We've added these stops, and so actually what we have is red or burgundy here, an area where there's no color, another strip of color and no color, etc., all the way across. And when we do this, check this out. This is very, very unique. I just think it's pretty amazing. Watch what's going to happen here. Let me select all of this and delete it. Now watch. When we add this particular gradient, look what happens. It literally adds what appears to be separate strips or stripes of the color, because what we have is the color in the red area, and then we have zero opacity stopping and creating this clear area, and then the color starts again. And again, that's a function of having these different stops and starts of the top of the bar, and that's what creates this sort of a look. You see, if I pull this out, I can change how it looks and behaves. So it has a very unique and interesting kind of look and feel, and can give you some pretty interesting results. So there you have it, pretty much. We didn't really talk about it, but also when you apply the gradient, whichever one you choose to apply, you're going to get more of the color. When we click and drag this line that going across the image, this line, I'm holding the mouse down, is what really represents the entire gradient. So depending on where you pull and in what direction and where you start and where you stop, that's going to affect how much of the entire gradient, in this case from red to green, you have. Or if I just pull a little bit here, I end up with mostly green. If I do it the other way, I can end up with mostly red. So where you start and stop this line, which represents the entire gradient, that is going to affect how the color and the gradient lays into your image. And this is, again, consistent with the gradient tool for InDesign and Illustrator, as well as right here in Photoshop.